Okay. Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm gonna give you guys some afterthoughts after having mag dumped 20 rounds out of an AR-15 and an AR-10 at 200 yards. Okay, so the goal here is to be able to hit a head, right, or head size target at 200 yards and shoot it as fast as we can, but still be accurate, right? The shots have to be inside the head, basically. And the idea is that there's a foxhole over there, or there's a guy hiding behind a rock, and we need to basically do some suppression fire, right? So that our teammate can flank around to the side. So the rate of fire needs to be fast enough, and it needs to be accurate. Okay, so the exercise is to shoot as fast as we can, and basically still get, inside a head. Okay, so for the AR-15, I used this Palmetto, had the PLX 1:8 scope, okay? And then for the AR-10, I used the Palmetto PA-10 Gen 3, both Palmettos. We got Palmetto versus Palmetto, and the scopes are both primary arms. So this is the primary arms 1-10 by 24. So this one goes up to 10 power. That one, the AR-15 Max, is out at 8 power. And the magazines are both Lancers, okay? So both 20-round magazines, and two reasons why I picked the 20-round magazines. Number one, if you're laying prone or benched, the magazine is less likely to hit the ground or the table. And the other reason is because the ammunition typically comes in 20-round boxes. So for the purpose of the exercise, that's just a very convenient number to work with, okay? So that's why we did 20 rounds and 20-round magazines. The ammo, okay, for the AR-15 we use the Wolf WM-193, and for the 308, right, for the AR-10 we use this Freedom Munitions 147 grain bullets. Okay, so both of these have shot 1 inch at 100 yards on numerous occasions. Okay, so this is target ammunition that is not match grade, but near match grade, and that's important because a lot of times people focus, like when they talk about like trying to get the best shots that they can, I think they over focus on match grade ammunition. The reality is, like, how much match grade ammunition do you own? Okay, so I don't know too many people that have stockpiled thousands of rounds, okay, of match grade ammunition. This stuff over here is cheap enough that I can stockpile this stuff. I have stockpiled this stuff. Okay, so this is budget ammunition that shoots near match grade accuracy. It's not as good, but it's pretty close. Okay, so yeah, they both have done 1 inch at 100 yards and better. Okay, I've done videos on that. So let's look at the groups. Okay, so we got 2 targets here. Do a side-by-side comparison, and basically this is the AR-15, that's the AR-10. Again, 200 yards, shooting as fast as I could, but still be able to hit the target. So on the AR-15 side, okay, initially I said that all 20 rounds hit the paper. However, there's the one up here is actually on the paper behind it, because I've stacked targets on top of targets. So the one up there, even though I can see it on the white, that's actually on a different paper behind it. So that's off the paper. And then I got one over here off to the right that's also technically on the target behind it, right? So that's outside of the 8x11. So it's close, but it's off the paper. So we've got 18 out of 20 that are actually on the 8x11 paper. If I were to remove it, that's all you would see it, right? Despite the fact that you can see it on the edge here of the paper behind it. On the AR-10, okay, we've got out of 20 shots, there's 19 that are all on the paper, and one that I like completely threw, like it went completely off. I knew, like when I did it, I was aware that I did it. I just pulled the trigger too quickly before my reticle had settled way off to the side. So I've got 19. So when I looked at these side by side, my initial impression is actually that the AR-10 is actually a tighter cluster. Okay, even though the AR-15 is very effective, it's still pretty tight. Get a tape measure out here. So what I'm going to do here is there's 3 shots here that I'm going to say, like if this was a head, right, that would be off, that would be just past the ear, and the one up here, I'm going to say that maybe that's going to go a little bit high. So we're going to look at, I'm going to discount those 4 shots, and we're going to look at the remaining cluster. Okay, so the remaining cluster over here is at, let's see, 5 inches, 6 inches, right, including that one. That's the furthest out if we look at this cluster. So we have a nice 6-inch cluster here of 16 out of 20 shots, okay? And the total 20 shots come in at about 7.5 inches, okay? So all 20 shots, shooting as fast as I could, came in at 7.5 inches, but the 6 inches, which is the you know, basically that would put it like right in the tee box area over here. That was 16 out of 20. Okay, so looking at the AR-10 over here, again, there's one that's completely off the paper. The total group here with the AR-10 is 5.5 inches. That one being the one that's so 5.5 inches. So we have a tighter group, right? When we, you know, actually we have a tighter cluster with AR-10. Again, we don't know where that other shot went, so we can't even count that. But if we look at, like, yeah, I mean, so we got, with the AR-10, we managed to get 19 shots inside of 6 inches, whereas with the 5.56, we only got, what do we say, 16 shots inside of the 6 inches, right? So 16 inside 6 inches versus 19 inside of 16 inches. So, you know, I mean, now, if I did this 10 more times, I mean, would it follow this exact pattern? You know what? It's close enough that I would say it really doesn't matter. I mean, these are both pretty close groups. I mean, I do like the spacing of I mean, and this is like, again, if I did this again, the image might reverse. But I do like this pattern here better on the AR-10. It seemed to group a little bit tighter. The AR-15 was also good, but it seemed to be just a little bit more spread out, right? You can see how that's a little bit more dense. That's a little bit more spread out. Not that I think it makes a difference. In either case, we've got very effective hits at 200 yards at what I thought was a good rate of fire. I got to look at the timing to see how quickly I don't remember the timing offhand. To see how quickly we got the 20 shots off here versus the 20 shots off over there. Okay, so I just don't remember. I know I looked at it, but I don't remember. I will I'll include that in the video. You know, I'll type that in so you guys know what it is. Okay, quick edit here. I went back and I looked at the video. It took 37 seconds to do the 5.56 mag dump versus 50 seconds to do the 308 mag dump. Okay, so both of these at 200 yards. Both of them I'm trying to go as fast as I can while keeping my chevron underneath the bullseye. Okay, so we got 5.56, 37 seconds, 308, 50 seconds. Okay, so so as far as the actual shooting, okay, with the AR-15, right, shooting the 5.56, I was able to shoot that in a higher magnification. I shot that in the scope's max magnification, the 8x, okay? And the reason why I shot it in 8x is because I had a good feeling that I would be able to shoot it, right? And what would happen is I didn't think that I would get thrown out of the scope. So I felt I could go as fast as I could. I knew that the chevron, right, because that's what I have as an aiming point. I knew the chevron was going to lift off, but I felt that even in X magnification, it wouldn't like jump completely, like it wouldn't throw me out of the scope, and I'd be able to get it on target pretty quickly. So that's why I went with the 8X. The interesting thing that I didn't expect, right, was that because normally if I'm shooting, let's say 200 yards or whatever, or even further distances, I'm shooting at a slower rate. So, you know, I'm taking I got all the time in the world, okay? So here, what was happening with the 5.56 is I would shoot, and the reticle would jump up, and then it would, like, kind of bounce 3 times on the back. So for both of them, I used the same bag setup. I used this sand sock in the back, and I used this in the front. And what would happen with the 5.56 and the AR-15, I would shoot it, and I felt like the gun basically, boof, like kind of like bounced off of the bag a little bit, right? So what that looked like when I was looking through the scope, it looked like this. Boom, 1, 2, 3, and then it would settle. Boom, 1, 2, 3, and it would settle. Boom, 1, 2, 3, and it would settle, okay? So I felt that was eating into the time, right? That was preventing me from going as fast as I wanted to go. Now, I was shooting off of the bag. Thinking back, if I had it on the bipod, right? Now, I was shot off the table. If I had a bipod on the table, it would actually, I think it would actually be less stable, because what I have found with the bipod on the table, it's more slippery, right? Because you got like the hard plastic legs on the plastic. So it actually is more slippery on the table. However, if I was shooting prone, okay, the legs of the bipod, right? If I was shooting prone on the ground, the legs of the bipod tend to find something on the ground to stick into, and then you put a little forward pressure into the bipod. That would probably stop the bounce of the reticle on the bullseye, right? So it wouldn't like, you know, take so long to settle. So shooting prone off the bipod would fix that. That wasn't an option because I have, from the position I was shooting at over the 200 yards, there's like grass and other rocks and other obstacles, so I had to get a little bit higher. So I couldn't shoot prone because I wouldn't be able to see the bullseye. I had to get up on the table in order to make it work. Okay? So that's just a realistic situation. So on the AR-10, okay, what I had to do, and I knew this because I hadn't done the exact same exercise, but I had done something similar the day before. And what I saw is that I started off in 6, fired a bunch of shots, then went up like 5 or 6 shots, then went up to 8, fired a bunch of shots, then went up to 10, fired a bunch of shots, went back down to 6, fired 2 more. What I noticed, right, when I looked at that video from the prior day, is that I was shooting faster in 6 magnification, because what was happening with the AR-10, the recoil is more. So if you're in a high magnification, it tends to throw you out of the scope. Not completely, but it tends to move you a lot more. So if you're back at 6 magnification, what I found is it was easier to get the reticle back on target. Now, initially, when I looked in there, right, because I shot the AR-15 first, which I started off at 8, which I didn't, or not start, I did an 8 magnification. So I did the AR-15, 20 rounds, mag dump in 8 magnification. Then set up and went to do the AR-10 in 6. So as soon as I got behind the scope, I'm like, oh man, this sucks. I really want to go up to 8 magnification. But I stayed in 6, and then as I started shooting it, I saw the benefit, because I could see that it was throwing me around a little bit. So being in 6 helped me stay on the reticle, okay? I did not notice the jump, right? So like I said, with the AR-15, it seemed to bounce 3 times. So with the AR-15, it would go boom, bounce, 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 and then it would settle. With the AR-10, the recoil was such that when it went boom, first of all, I'm in less magnification in 6x, so I didn't notice the bounce as much because of just because I had less magnification. But the other thing is, like, after it recoiled, it completely jumped off the target, right? I mean, not completely off, but it jumped off of the bullseye, okay? So it jumped off the bullseye enough that I had to actually move it back to the bullseye. So the minor slowdown that I had with the AR-15, with it bouncing so much, was just not an issue here, because it had jumped so much that I actually had to bring it back and center it and take my other shot. And then so it would go boof, right? And then I had to center it, right, boof, right? And then I had to center it. So that was the difference in that. So it was less magnification. So if there was a bounce, I didn't see it as much, and it actually threw me. It didn't throw me out of scope, but it threw the aiming point, the chevron, off of the bullseye. With the aim, it wasn't coming off the bullseye, right? It was just taking 3 bounces to settle. It would go boom, bam, 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 okay, and then it would settle right on it. With the AR-10, it would go boom, and then it would end up someplace over there. So it was actual work to bring it back and center it. Okay. Other thing, as far as shooting the AR-10, you could definitely feel it in here. Not terrible, okay, but you could definitely feel it impacting you. But that's not even like the main thing. I found shooting 20 rounds of the AR-10, even though I think I got a better group, right? I think I got a better group here at the 200 yards. It was more exhausting, okay, and I think one of the more significant things that came out of this this exercise. It was physically exhausting, trying to get in position and try to keep it in position. It was just more tiring. Okay, I didn't expect it. When I had done it the day before, when I was doing it in small increments, like where I shot like 5 or 6 in 6, then went up to 8, fired another 5 or 6, went up to 10, fired another 6. That short break was actually mattered. Okay, when I tried to do all 20 rounds back to back, boof, boof, boof. By the time I think I got up to like 15, I was like thinking to myself, okay, is this almost over? Okay, are we done yet? Because I wasn't keeping track of the rounds. And that's because it was exhausting. It was not exhausting like I couldn't get up and walk, but I mean I could definitely feel a big fatigue difference with AR-10 versus the AR-15 for trying to do this exercise. We're trying to get this type of accuracy at the 200 yards. So I think that's interesting. I think it's something to be aware of, and I think it's something for you guys out there to test, to play around with, because generally, when it comes to shooting, right, we do 2 types of shooting, okay? We're either doing like accuracy testing, or we're trying to do, let's say, a 5-round group or something, right? Some guys do 3 rounds, right? We try to do a 5-round group. We're shooting at some distance, whatever, 100 yards plus. But we're taking our time. We're going slow, right? We got all the time in the world to get those shots off. We're rested. We're holding our breath, okay? Which is good. We gotta have that skill. So that's one type of shooting. The other type of shooting that we typically do is like CQB type of stuff, where we're just standing and banging away rounds at fairly close range, where, you know, again, we're practicing different skills, right? You're just working with the guns, moving, you know. So that's the second type of training that most people do. So they're either doing long distance, or not even necessarily long distance, but they're either doing accuracy practice, or they're doing some type of CQB type of practice, even if even if they don't have, let's say, like a shoot house or something, right? You know, something that facilitates that CQB shooting type of environment. Okay, but I don't see people, and I've never really done it myself either in the past, where we're trying to shoot at distance and just do a large volume of suppression fire accurately. Okay, so I think this is like a third type of training that I think that we should all incorporate into our practice. Again, I've never really done this before. I mean, I may have done it, but I don't think I've looked at it as a skill that really needs to be developed and practiced. Okay, so those are my thoughts on that. I think this was fun. I'm really happy with the way both these guns, the ammunition, the scopes, I'm really happy with the way everything performs for this exercise. Okay, I think this is a very valuable skill for people out there to develop. Okay, so let me know what you guys think, and I will talk to you soon.